All right, how's everybody doing? This is Cheech from the Cheech and Manny show, and do we have a great show today? It is going to be us talking about Led Zeppelin and the album Led Zeppelin III with our special guest and Led Zeppelin expert, Mr. Joe Silkman. And I'm going to hand you over to my co-host, Mr. Manny. How are you, Manny?
Cheech, what's going on, brother? Life is good. And Joe,
That's
thank you for
good.
being on the show.
Thanks
Thank you
again.
for having me.
Part three. Yeah, life is good here today. I sent you some bass videos. I did some Led Zeppelin
I saw them.
video. Hung out with my daughter, played some bass, listened to some Led Zeppelin. Away from the temple, always a fun day, you know. So, so I guess we'll get right into it. And I can't believe this is part three. It's amazing, with Mr. Silkman.
I know it's crazy.
Just want to thank all of our fans. We're up to 2,000 plus for all the views. Hopefully you guys checked out the Bob Dylan. I know it was long, but I think we killed it. It was pretty amazing. So I wanted to just bring up, quick shout out to Potter's Field always. Wanted to just bring up, somebody was asking me about how we do our show and how we format the episode. So I just wanted to just, explain how we do it. What I do is I get all my sources from the internet, and they're really good sources, and I always do my, certain sites, and it's usually writers, rock critics, rock journalists, musicians that I always check on. I get my, then I do my facts check, through Bing or Google, and then we put it together, and then I write the episode. And the way we do the episode is we'll go over song lyrics and song music, and me and Manny will, bounce around. Excuse me. Sometime I'm completely wrong on lyrics, like with Bob Dylan on Maggie's Farm, and then Manny will correct me, or sometime Manny will pick out something stoic in a Rush lyric. So the whole point of the lyrics when we analyze it is its interpretation of the song. It's not factual. Everyone has an interpretation of how a song goes. Don't you guys agree? It can't be. It's not a fact that a song. It's how you hear it.
Well, from like the art perspective, I guess we'll take a just quick philosophical jab, I guess, or comment on that. Not jab, comment. Subjectivity. It's art. It's subjective.
Yeah.
Once it escapes the artist, it's not set on one just meaning. It can have one song can have multiple meanings.
It could. It can't just be about one thing because you think it's about one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's certain things that are said, and it could be a misinterpretation of something I read, or you might have a different opinion of it or whatever. But so I'm gonna just talk about some books that I think people should read about Led Zeppelin, where I get a lot of my information from. Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin, Uncensored, Richard Cole. Richard Cole was the tour manager from 1968 to 1979. I know Joe read that book. And then this is a great book where I got a lot of my facts from, When Giants Walk the Earth by Mick Wall. So I recommend, and then, another book called Led Zeppelin. You ever hear this one by Bob Spitz, Joe? Just called Led Zeppelin.
Doesn't sound familiar to me.
Okay, that's another one.
The author's name does not sound familiar.
So yeah, so like you said, subjective, right? Is that the word you use?
Subjectivity, yes. Subjective.
Yeah.
Because I know on that comment, the person was pretty. I'm sorry, so comment whatever. But the point is, and Cheech, I think wonderfully said. You do the work and the research. You utilize really good sources, and also I want to remind everybody, and you guys are awesome about this. We're only human. I mean, if we made a mistake, listen, comment and let us know nicely, right? You can say, for example, Jimmy, I love what you guys do here, but I did do my research, and I found out that Jimmy did not play a double neck guitar on this song. Can you guys look into that? We'll be like, dude, great comment. Thank you so much, and we'll look into it for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
You don't have to be. I mean, I feel like a lot of people are mean sometimes, and they
yeah.
they
As far as comments go, like I love comments, and I love people that I learn from on the comments. They'll say some great things, and they'll disagree, and I'll learn from that. Please, if you do comment, try to be respectful. That's all we could say, moving forward. So let's move forward to Zeppelin 3 and have some fun.
Oh, and by the way, can I do a correction? I was watching our
Yeah.
last awesome video on Led Zeppelin II, and I made a mistake. When we were discussing the album artwork, I guess to appease this, um, you know, truth check or fact check, I made a mistake. I said that the band on their album covers weren't present, but I realized on Led Zeppelin III, their faces are there.
I just asked Joe about that.
I
I
didn't
wasn't
notice it before
sure.
because I don't have the
It's on the
vinyl.
pin. They're on the pinwheel, right, Joe? The faces.
Oh, hold on.
So they're there, but I think that's probably the last time they're on there. Yeah. So see, Joe's holding it up. See, so I think
Yeah,
that's
Yeah,
John
there's
Bonham.
Bonham. You can see that's Bonham on
Yeah.
there a couple of times. And what's fun about the pinwheel is how it spins. And like you bring it down, and there's Robert Plant.
See, that's crazy. So that's part of a
wow.
pinwheel.
Oh, there's Robert Plant right there.
Oh, and then each member, I remember that. Yeah.
I didn't know that. See, because I look at the album from the streaming platform, so I never knew that. So I apologize.
Doesn't that suck? Doesn't that suck with streaming? Like you can't have a tangible thing anymore.
No. Oh, I didn't know that.
Genius.
Paul Jones and John Paul Jones. There's about like 8 holes that are cut in. You can spin it.
And that's Zakron, right? Zakron did that. Am I saying it wrong? That's the. Well,
You mean like a company?
no,
I think there's another art student that that Jimmy knew from art.
Yeah. So Cheech, just another fact check. I'm gonna be making a joke out of this. Another fact check. Cheech, you are right. It is Zakron. He was a multimedia artist that Page met at, and Joe is right as well, at Kingston College of Art in 1963. And Page asked him if he would design a sleeve for the album in January of 1970. So yeah.
I'm just gonna throw a fact check that I read. Could be wrong. Going back to Zeppelin 2, Joe had brought this up after we did the song when we did Thank You. I think that particular song, What Is and What Should Never Be, on an article that I read, was Robert Plant wanting Maureen's sister, but couldn't have her. That was somebody wrote that, and I thought, I'm not saying it's the truth, but it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
What is and what should never be. I think that's what it's about, in my opinion. or
And I will say, at the end of the day, the point is, Page played a guitar on it, and it's an awesome song.
exactly.
Exactly. One of the best songs, in my opinion.
Oh, and just to throw the Bob Dylan thing up really quick, and Joe's involved in this. Did you guys see the Soy Bomb video?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that, man?
Yes, I did.
And it was that I forgot when Joe sent that to me. I forgot about that completely. And that guy Soy Bomb went on to be a director, directing movies and stuff.
He was a performance artist.
Yeah.
I think he was able to get on the stage because there were some background dancers.
Yeah, and
he blended in with them, and then so he had this whole ruse to be on the stage. Then he stripped off his shirt and he said "Soy Bomb,"
and it had some kind of crazy meaning. I think I sent it to you guys, which I don't remember.
Yeah,
about art.
The whole thing was that Dylan did not flinch. I mean,
no,
people
that was
thought
so cool.
It's part of the show.
Yeah,
scripted because Dylan did not flinch. He did not even move his guitar, and the guy was gyrating right next to him.
He was going nuts.
Yeah,
like it was insane.
That's interesting.
Quick Dylan thing. Okay, so the year is 1970. Led Zeppelin III comes out. That's an interesting year because it's a year I was born. showing my old ass age.
Dude, in terms of the year, I thought Led Zeppelin 3 was, for some odd reason, I thought it was released because I wasn't born in this decade, obviously, but I thought it was like a mid 70s album. I had no idea it's 1970.
They were on a
That
roll
is
from 68.
insane.
Think about this: 68, 69, 70. Zeppelin was nonstop putting out albums and tours, and that's how they became so great. Every band from that era, Purple, Black Sabbath, Humble Pie, nonstop touring, and then
Rush.
Rush. Well, Rush will be a little bit later, but non exactly Rush too, like nonstop touring, album tour, album tour, album tour. And unfortunately, some bands crashed and burned, others didn't. It's amazing. So let's talk about.
You snuck in the reference to Rush.
Oh,
Joe, we have to do it, Joe.
couldn't happen.
Reminds me of my favorite touring band, the Flaming Lips.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're brilliant.
Love them.
They're considered like psychedelia, right, Joe? Like, I like their music.
Oh, yeah.
They're really good. Very underrated.
Everyone should see the Flaming Lips just one time.
Great band. I remember the Flaming Lips being considered, I could be wrong, an alternative band back in the day.
You know what's funny, Cheech? They were lumped with them, and that's why they had success, but I feel like they weren't as successful as the Strokes because they were lumped together, like alternative.
Yeah.
Like that alternative scene.
They go way back.
Or the White Stripes, too. It's like around that time period.
I think it's late. I think, what was the Flaming Lips, Joe?
They started in '83.
Oh, so man. They got popular in the 2000s, though.
Yeah. Amazing band. And the guy's daughter got kidnapped, right? Or was missing.
She was not kidnapped, but she was missing, and she was later found. Yeah,
Thank you.
Stephen Trout.
Oh wow.
But
great band. They always play the Cap. Oh, and you mentioned you bought a Capitol theater book.
Yes, there's a new book about the Capitol. I think it starts in 2012 with the renovation to the present day.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do they talk about bands that played there in the past? Because I'm always curious about the history.
I don't think that. Well, I don't know because the book hasn't been delivered to me yet.
Oh, okay.
It's ordered. It just came out. Phil Lesh, from of course, did the foreword for it before he passed on. And there's a lot of quotes from different musicians, but it's basically the Cap photographers that provided the content for the book. And it's,
there's an urban legend that Rush and Thin Lizzy played there in 74, 75. And the night I was born, I know for a fact because I looked it up. I found the bootleg. Pink Floyd played there, 1970.
Wait, is that an urban legend or true?
No, that's true. I found the concert on YouTube.
Wait, did Janis Joplin play at the Capitol? I feel like she did. Right? I heard that.
Because I told that story about the homeless guy who was telling that he hooked up with her. There was a bar called Little Dick's. And that was always the urban legend that she rented out that bar after the show because she did play the Capitol.
Wait, the bar was called Little Dick's?
Yeah, Little Dick's.
Man, that name would not fly back today.
Only Portchester people watching this that are maybe 10 years older than me, 20 years older than me will remember that bar. Because I remember always laughing at it when we would drive home from my grandmother's house in like 4th grade. Little Dick's. Anyway.
The problem with some of these stories is that there's also a Capitol Theater in New Jersey.
True.
Sometimes you really have to dig a little deeper to find out, was it the Jersey Cap or was it the Portchester Cap?
I think mine might have been the Portchester one. Because I have a couple of bootlegs or from Mountain.
Cheech, make sure you fact check that, man.
I know. I got to fact check everything now. I know Mountain definitely opened up the Capitol in New Jersey because I had the King Biscuit Flour Hour.
Are they the same owners or different?
No, different owners,
okay.
different names. So, but I think the Capitol in New Jersey was way more popular at the time than the Capitol in Portchester because the Capitol in Portchester closed down at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
For many, many years, it was abandoned.
Yeah,
and I could be wrong. But my mom told me that Bob Dylan used to practice in the Capitol Theater when it was abandoned. he would rent it out because he loved the
See,
sound.
I could definitely see that. And obviously you two know he played some shows there, which of all venues is like the Capitol.
Yeah,
Bob
people
Dylan could
loved it.
fill. I think Bob Dylan could fill a stadium.
Oh yeah, a
Well, yeah.
little theater in Portchester. Icons are playing, like Sting, Bob Dylan. There's something special about the Capitol.
Yeah.
Going back to vaudeville, and it's about 100 years old, maybe more.
You two would love this. I remember Pat Benatar was there too, and the guitarist. I forgot his name, but he's really good.
Yeah.
Guitarist.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I mean, I've seen so many great bands at the Cap. I probably seen Government Mule and Warren Haynes the most at the Cap. Just such a great venue.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, after the renovation, Bob Dylan opened it. He was the first
Right.
performer.
That's right.
I think that was 13, right? 2013.
2012 or 2013.
Yeah.
Sold out in minutes.
Oh, yeah.
1,800 seats.
Yeah. Amazing.
Wow.
So 1970, I always like to open up the albums that are out that Led Zeppelin is up against. Led Zeppelin has two of the greatest albums out already. They're already on top of the world, so they're probably just as big or bigger than some of these bands. I don't know, or on their way. The Who, one of my favorite live albums, Live at Leeds.
Oh, amazing. One of the greatest, if anything.
Oh, my God. Morrison Hotel, Clapton's Layla, the Stones Get Your Yayas Out. I love this album, The Grateful Dead, Working Man's Dead, Deep Purple in Rock, Black Sabbath, their debut, Closer to Home, Grand Funk, and Santana's Abraxas.
Dude, that's such a legendary year.
I mean, and Santana was so hot coming off of that Woodstock performance, 1970. So Zeppelin is up against heavyweights, So Led Zeppelin III opens up with the Immigrant Song, Friends, Celebration Day, Since I've Been Loving You, Out on the Tiles, and then side 2, I believe, Gallows Pole, Tangerine, That's the Way, Bron-Your Stomp, hats off to Roy Harper. Just giving the checklist songs. Okay. Now I feel paranoid now. No pun intended to Sabbath, but okay. Recorded 1970 at Headley Grange Studio, Island Studio, Olympic Studio, and they were using the Rolling Stones mobile studio, which a lot of bands did at that time. They shifted directions and went more acoustic and a folk vibe. And I wonder, they must have been influenced by Dylan. I wonder.
You know what's funny? There are, I'm like, we're gonna fact check this. I'm gonna joke around with this dumb fact.
Let me fact check my ass. Hold on.
Let me ask my ass.
Let me see if my ass is facts.
So Cheech, I'll be honest. When you listen to, there are 3 tracks on the album: Tangerine, That's the Way, and Bron-Your Stomp. Is that right?
Yes.
Right? So, dude, they sound like they. How's it, Joe?
Bron-Your.
Bron-Your. So Bron-Your Stomp. Dude, they sound like they could have been recorded in Laurel Canyon or something. They're strange. Like, I think there's some truth to what you said about the influence.
Where they're recorded is I'm gonna get to where they were recorded because it's interesting. So let me just see. So they used they got into that folk vibe. Just to talk about the reviews before I get into the recording, me and Joe were talking about. Joe, you want to talk about some of the reviews from that the Zeppelin got from Zeppelin III?
Well, a lot
they were mixed. They were mixed.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just wanted to hear Led Zeppelin II-A. And so there was some critiques. Some of the critics thought that maybe they were trying to emulate Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Yep.
Put out Deja Vu probably the year before.
Right.
Great album. And so it was not received very well. I thought it was funny. I reread a Rolling Stone review by Lester Bangs, who also used to write for Cream magazine, and he actually he's known to really not like classic rock bands, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, but he actually said some nice things about Zeppelin III, and in particular, he actually enjoyed the song "That's the Way," and so there was hope for Lester.
Wow. Hats
People
off.
don't know Lester Bangs. If you watch the Almost Famous movie, he's a main character. He's Cameron Crowe's muse,
That's
mentor.
right. Right.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
Got it.
And
Philip Seymour Hoffman, I
I
think
was
is
gonna
his name.
say that's really cool. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Yeah, phenomenal. And speaking of the reviews, I'm just reading here in my notes that some of the negative press that was given to Led Zepp 3, but Led Zeppelin 3 affected him so much that he did not give press interviews for 18 months after its release. So he was really affected by it.
Mhm.
Wow. I mean, some of the critics thought it was all over the place and didn't have like a focus. It was folky. It was immigrant song, metal. It was bluesy, because they wanted that Zeppelin 1 and 2. That's what some of the critics were talking about that. But it was
I wish everybody did hate it because then maybe I could have gotten tickets when I was 16, 17 years old. Every time I tried, they sold out in an hour.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, back when they would do the acoustic set
Yeah.
during the show. I mean, somebody must have liked it because I couldn't get a ticket, and they were selling out 18,000 seat arenas.
And that's so cool because me and Manny had brought this up, I think, in the Dylan show that they would do an acoustic set. And it was because of Zeppelin 3. They'd break down one set, have a middle set, and then have a closing set.
Mm-hmm.
And I love when bands do stuff like that. It was a commercial success, 6 million albums sold, 10 million. Now at this point, I think it's 10 million worldwide. So it was a success from the beginning. Now, this is interesting when you said, what is it called? Coral Canyon, where
Yeah, so that's Laurel Canyon with
yeah,
that's the scene, the acoustic scene with Graham Nash, Joni Mitchell, et cetera, et
yeah.
cetera. Like all the acoustic playing artists. Legendary. It's legendary.
Steve Stills and Neil Young.
Yep.
I gotta say, I was thinking about my favorite acoustic guitar players because I've always enjoyed Jimmy's acoustic playing.
Same.
Oh, yeah.
I have new
I think-
respect for him for that.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Neil Young with his acoustic guitar, and he can rock out anytime he wants with,
Oh, yeah.
And then Pete Townsend, especially the Tommy album,
Yeah.
very good acoustic
Oh,
work.
yeah.
But the
Great.
guy that I think is underrated for being such a great acoustic player is Stephen Stills and the body of work he's done for the last 40, 50 years.
He definitely is
Yeah.
underrated.
His first solo album is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Stills. He's a great player. So it obviously came out on Atlantic Records. Jimmy Page produced it. The single was the Immigrant Song. Andy Johns engineered it, and Terry Manning. And Page and Plant retreated to Bonnior, a house in Wales, to write the material, the acoustic stuff. And then they went to Headley Grange, which is a farmhouse in England, and they brought the Stones, studio there to record. And a lot of bands recorded there. Bad Company and Genesis. And I think they also recorded Houses of the Holy there and some of Physical Graffiti in the future. Does it sound right to you, Joe?
There are some songs, left over from the Zeppelin III sessions that ended up on Physical Graffiti.
That's crazy.
But it's kind of cool that they were very tired from the touring and trying to record on the road. So I think it was Robert Plant's idea. Let's get away and let's write some acoustic material. Let's write some songs around a roaring fire.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got back to nature.
And Joe, when I listen to the album, that's the vibe I get, especially on the after Immigrant Song, which obviously it's funny back before I actually listened to the whole record. I would just listen to Immigrant Song and just not even bother with the rest of the album, because that was the single. That was the
Yeah.
Do you two know the movie School of Rock with Jack Black?
Sure do.
So you know that famous scene where he's blasting in his van with the kids, and so everybody young knows that. Well, at least my age and yours, and that grew up with this movie, knows that song. Like, that's the most popular song. But then you listen to the rest of the album, and it feels, oh my goodness, I just love it. I was telling Cheech, my new favorite album, and it feels like a campfire, a roaring fire, and just. And you said, I think, Cheech, Jimmy Page's acoustic strumming, beautiful,
Oh, yeah,
stunning,
incredible. And I'm gonna get to the instrumentation and stuff. Obviously, Bonham on drums. JPJ has a little bit more of an arsenal on this album. By the way, did you see the video, Manny, that I sent you about John Paul Jones when he got out of the car with the security guard?
Is that the recent one you sent?
Yeah, you got to watch that video.
What happened?
It's just insane. Just watch it. The security guard just fucking lets loose on a fan. It's really fucking twisted. It's crazy. So John Paul Jones on bass, Hammond organ, Moog synth, mandolin, double bass on Bonnie Your Stomp. I probably said it wrong. A string arrangements on Friends. Fact check on that if you want to, Manny.
We'll fact check it.
Yeah. Page, guitar, obviously, pedal steel, banjo. And it says he played bass on That's the Way. Interesting. And Plant on vocals. And we already said Zayacron did the artwork, right, for the album. So let's dive right into the Immigrant Song. Now, I'm a Viking nut. I mean, if you ever watched the show Vikings, I was like obsessed with that show back in the day, and it kind of like when I saw that show, the Immigrant Song popped in my head. I was like, yes, this is like they nailed it. And Plant's influenced by the Vikings is all over this. So, Immigrant Song. It's about the Viking invasion of England, Norse mythology, Viking raids on British soil, images of Viking warriors fighting, Valhalla, I'm coming home. I mean, I just love that quote.
Epic.
So for those of you, this quick Viking history, if you don't know anything about Valhalla, the afterlife for fallen warriors, where they would fight along the side of the gods during the events of Ragnarok. I'm not going to get into that crazy stuff, but Ragnarok, you can look that up. You can fact check that if you want. I think he mentions the Valkyries, who are female figures who choose which warriors will die in battle to go to Valhalla. And he brings up Midgard, which is a realm in the Norse world. So just a quick Viking history.
It's like Viking lore and mythology. So Norse mythology is awesome.
Yeah, and the Vikings attacked England. So there's a guy named King Edbert who tried to make treaties with them because everybody was scared to death of Vikings took over England, France, and Ireland. You didn't fuck with the Vikings. They were no joke. So that's why there's such a huge English influence with the Vikings. So did I do the music on that?
No, not yet.
I think it's the first, my opinion, it might be the first heavy metal song. Sounds like Iron Maiden.
Cheech, fact check it, man. Because you're going to have somebody say, no, it was actually...
No, I said in my opinion. So
you got to add that, in my opinion.
In my humble opinion.
But Cheech, I'll be honest with you, dude. I hear Iron Maiden in this song.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't think anything was that heavy. I know Sabbath came out this year, 1970. So, yes, Sabbath is out, but they're not known yet, They're you know, Black Sabbath, that album is extremely fucking heavy, but it might be one of the greatest, my opinion. I'm gonna say it, heavy metal riffs, hard rock riffs of all time. You know, very reminiscent of Flight of Icarus by Iron Maiden. If you listen to the verses, you know where Steve got some of his ideas, going from an F sharp to an E. You know, during the verses, just throw some music in there. Now you can fact check this. I don't know. I heard it was inspired by a Joan Baez song called "Poor Wayfaring Stranger." That's something
We're gonna have to fact check that, man. I don't know. No. That's interesting though.
The bass line is insane during the pre-chorus. Great fast bass line.
It's a fast song. I think it's only like 2 minutes plus. It's fast.
I think, yeah. And the bass is just real all over the place and fast, and the drums are just thunder. They're just pretty much thunder. Any comments on that song, on the Immigrant song?
Joe, what do you think? The Immigrant song.
Wow. 2 minutes and 26 seconds. I can't believe it.
That's incredible. Like that's.
What I love is the drums. Bonham sounds like he's pounding on tree trunks. If you listen.
Yeah. Oh no, dude, and talk about
it's tribal.
Yeah,
you know,
I hear him on some Viking ship, Cheech, or something.
Yeah.
It almost
how Jimmy got the sound of the cymbals, but the cymbals are great too. I mean, it's a great drumming performance.
Now, Joe, on How the West Was Won, they have a live version. It's not synced up to the video, but it's a live Immigrant song, and they go into a jam section. Do you remember that?
Was that when they clip in the footage from a show in Australia?
Exactly.
Like a rugby stadium, I guess. Yeah.
So the audio is very, you know, the audio doesn't match, but the jam, they actually go into this sick jam. They take it to the next level. If you can ever find that Australian version of the Immigrant song, I recommend it.
There's also a great version on the BBC Studios recording. It's a live recording. I think it might have been done at the Paris Theater. And it's just like the guy is he's introducing the band, and he's like a laid back, probably a DJ. And it's just like, it was like unleashing Bonham. You know, it was like he couldn't wait to start to get into the song. It was like, you know, the guy is saying, here's Led Zeppelin, and boom, Bonham was right into the Immigrant song. Yeah.
It's insane. And they used to do this cool thing, and when we would cover it, we would copy them. And I heard it on bootlegs. They would say, and tonight we're going to stop. And the whole band would stop. Have you ever heard that part? You know that section where it's like, tonight we're going to stop. And the music just stopped. And then they went, boom, but it. Just another tidbit. You don't have to fact check it, Manny. It's okay.
I don't know that one.
Yeah. We used to cover it, and it was so much fun to play, and challenging line. The next one is Friends.
Dude, I love this. Dude, I love this song.
Yeah, here's my humble. Excuse me. I can't get rid of this cough. It's crazy. Here's my humble opinion on Friends. The joy of close friends by your side, spiritual connection of friends, longing and separation. Longing and separation. Now, I think them experiencing fame and touring and being away from their friends also had an influence on this song. That's just my opinion. How do you guys feel about that, the lyrics?
I think well, first, just from the title of the track, Friends, right? So I think that's what you're saying there. So I can definitely see that. And wait, just to repeat, you said it was what did you unearth from like the lyrics standpoint? It's pretty great lyrics.
The joy and closeness of your friends by your side, spiritual connections of your friends, longing and separation when you're away from your friends, which could be their experience from being on tour.
And it's fun. And it's funny. That's great. And but musically, it's interesting, right? Like lyrically and musically, an interesting combo.
Musically repetitive patterns that build a hypnotic climax. Great vocal harmony, lush harmony adds to the depth and texture of the song. Orchestra, if I could speak. Orchestral arrangements, strings, and woodwinds by John Paul Jones. So how do you guys feel about that? Joe?
I think that was the song where they actually wanted to perform it or record it with the Bombay Orchestra in India.
And
it didn't happen, or they never, they got a demo. But there were people working with Zeppelin in the studio who thought that song was demonic. They thought it was like evil. There was something about it when they really would crank it up really loud, and the droning at the end leading into Celebration Day.
You know what's funny? The string arrangement is interesting. Like I'm not saying it's demonic, but I love the song because you know where it goes, like it has a Cheech, you hit it like a repetitive, nice pattern, and then this strange string arrangement, which it does sound kind of weird, kind of eerie.
Well, got to bring it up. Page was reading a lot of Crowley at this point.
Wait. Did you fact check that?
Oh, I know that for a fact.
Like you're the expert on Crowley, man.
I'm the expert on Aleister Crowley. Read every book the guy ever wrote. Diary of a Drug Fiend.
So he possibly put something in there or something. He did.
Well, Joe wrote something the other day, Do What Thy Will, and those were in the little cracks of what Zeppelin, was it 4?
Do What Thou Will? Led Zeppelin III.
Was Zeppelin
on the first pressings? The first pressing they did of the album. I looked at my copy. It doesn't have it.
And Mode It Be. So if it said Mode It Be, so Mode It Be and Do What Thy Will, if you have those on your Led Zeppelin 3, those are original.
Those are original, yeah. First pressing.
So at this point in Jimmy Page's era, he was really studying Crowley and buying buying a lot of Crowley artifacts. That was his thing. Really the legitimate stuff way before eBay and Amazon tracking him down. I'm sure they were easy to get in England at the time because it was only like 30 years after Crowley's death, maybe. Yeah, 30 years. So that's interesting. It was Zeppelin 3, the Crowley codings in there. Okay, so Joe, you said Celebration Day. You want to mention anything about Celebration Day before I get into the meaning?
It's just by the time you get to Celebration Day, the people that say, well, this is not a rock and roll album, it's not heavy, they're missing the whole point. They really are.
Yep, exactly.
I think Celebration Day is great. I think it's a lot of fun. And I could tell Zeppelin was really so upset that Zeppelin III was not received very well, although it sold, like you said, 6 million copies. But so they came back to it, of course, when they got back together in 2007, and they named the DVD Celebration Day.
I'm going to say a Rush reference. Sorry, Joe. Would you say their Caress of Steel?
Would I say it's their Caress of Steel?
Out of all the albums that Zeppelin made, every band has a Caress of Steel.
Okay, all right, no.
I'll be honest with you. So I just weigh in. Right. I don't think it's their Caress of Steel because it was still popular and it sold a lot. Yeah. I think Rush's Caress of Steel did not sell.
Right. That's How many copies did Caress of Steel sell? But also they were almost going to lose their recording contract.
Yep.
Right. But Caress of Steel is mellow. There's similarities. Caress of Steel has a lot of acoustic tracks on it.
It does. Well, going back to what Joe said, if people don't get past Bastille Day, because obviously Bastille Day is a classic Rush song, and they hear the other stuff, and they
Hey, think about it.
They don't get it.
They open up a Bastille Day, which is heavy. It's a heavy rock song, and then they're doing
Dude, you can hear the Led Zeppelin influence.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
The formula. Now that I mean, it's always a Rush reference. You know, we got to fact. I'm gonna fact check that one.
That's gonna be like the inside joke.
Wait, let me ask. Okay, I got fact that. Anyway, Celebration Day. Obviously, joy, celebration, love, and relationships, freedom, liberation from personal struggles, letting go of life's worries, and finding happiness in the moment. How do you guys feel about that? Breaking down the song. Now Zeppelin it's hard. It's not, you know, it's hard as interpretation, but I think that's pretty much what, in my humble opinion.
No, I think that's pretty good, and I will say, like lyrically, they're getting stronger. Like you could tell they took their time. Like you know how we said like "Ramble On" is an amazing song. Again, in my humble opinion, always got to add that before someone fact checks us. You know, lyrically, we were like it's all over the place.
Ass check.
Well, dude, let me consult. Let me consult the great ass, and we'll be back. But you know how we said "Ramble On" is amazing, and it's just mind-boggling that this young guy wrote this song even in the first place. But we did hear sort of it is all over the place. But you can tell for like Celebration Day, lyrically, they're getting stronger.
Oh yeah,
like, they took their time.
My favorite lyric that always stands out is my, I'm so happy. I'm going to join the band. Yeah, we're going to sing and dance in celebration.
It's phenomenal.
You know, happy.
It's a great happy track.
Yeah.
It really is.
After the evil friends.
Right? You know,
I can't believe someone thought I never thought it was evil. That's interesting.
I'm going to have to find out who was working in the studio with them that made that comment to Jimmy Page.
Well, it's the drone.
I was going to say it really cranked it up very, very loud.
Anytime you hear droning, it gets into, you know, like that kind of weird kind of sound that people might put into like you know, that the darkness or whatever. I wonder if it's in the key of F sharp. I know Immigrant Song is. The Immigrant Song is in the key of F sharp, and that's a occult key. So anyway, musically, it's rock, blues, folk. Jimmy uses electric and acoustic, layering the song. John Paul Jones, great bass, of course, great drums. Plant's passionate, and you, as you said, you know, his vocals and his lyrics, passionate vocals with feeling. You know, so I really liked the way you quoted the lyrics, Joe. That was cool.
Thank you.
Without me and Manny have to cheat to look at the lyrics. So
Robert Plant was trying to be like Neil Peart, I guess. He started reading a lot as the years went on. He was really into poets in particular.
Well, William Blake
history.
Yeah, this album, William Blake turns up a lot, Manny, for Robert Plant, which is interesting. You know, great poet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, probably one of my favorite songs, and I like it on Zeppelin III, but the song remains the same. Just takes it to another place. Since I've Been Loving You.
Dude, I think this is one of the greatest songs from like the rock perspective, but it's really good. If anything, it's a masterpiece on the album, my opinion. But
weird, I stopped listening to Zeppelin III Since I've Been Loving You and just focused on, you know, A Song Remains the Same. So when I would hear Zeppelin III's version, I'd be like almost disappointed because it's so good on the Song Remains the Same.
So you would say like the Song Remains the Same version is probably one of the best, like maybe definitive.
It's better than the recorded version for me.
The recorded version is already amazing. I haven't heard that version yet.
How do you feel about that, Joe? You like the recorded version versus The Song Remains the Same?
It's so funny because I just saw the movie a couple of days ago. Jimmy really nailed it in The Song Remains the Same.
Oh,
it sounded
God.
really, really good. I thought he was pretty faithful to the original, to be honest with you.
Opens up
it becomes more powerful live.
Doesn't he go crazy with the guitar in the intro, and then they go right into it?
Oh yeah, yeah. He goes, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's amazing.
I think Plant used to introduce the song as being an English blues. That's how he
Yeah.
described it.
Yeah, it's what it is.
It's
Since
some of
I've
his
been
best
loving you.
guitar work.
Oh, yeah, and we'll get into the music, but lyrics pretty much describes itself, in my humble opinion, love and longing, a deep love connection to the one that you love, pain and heartbreak that comes from loving someone, vulnerability and surrendering and giving yourself over to the emotion. I thought that was an interesting one, Manny.
Say it
Giving your
again. We say it again.
So love and longing, a deep love connection to the one that you love,
Yeah.
pain and heartbreak that comes with loving someone, vulnerability and surrendering and giving yourself over to the emotion of that love. You know, it's pretty.
That's pretty. It's like a classic blues topic.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what Plant was the best at. You know, like.
I'll be honest. This is Led Zeppelin. Like this, this is probably one of the most definitive tracks. Like next to A Whole Lot of Love, or
yeah, is it a heartbreak song? Is in my humble ass opinion, is it a heartbreak song? Is the protagonist singing "Since I've Been Loving You and I Can't Have You," or is it "Since I've Been Loving You and You Love Me"? You don't know. It's open to interpretation. You know.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. When I was listening to this song, I think two things, and you'll talk about the music in a little bit, but the beginning part where where the music and especially Jimmy Page's guitar is immaculate. You hear that part like down 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 down. For me, like I always put my mind inside the music. Oh, dude, yeah. I feel it. And going back to what you said, I feel like this song is. I think there's some sadness to it when it's this the classic blues theme where this dude is working 7 to 11 every night. He says really makes life a drag, and he's about to lose his love, and so he's like, "Please, baby, like don't help me out. I'm trying here."
Right. So it is a heartbreak song. The poor guy's working at the temple. He's got to close.
I was gonna say another temple anthem.
He gets stuck in lockdown, and his girls, nobody else.
No, look, Cheech, you're in charcuterie. I said I've been crying. Oh, my tears, they felt like.
My girl's with another man, and I'm slicing meat, and I clean slice.
I won't punch out until 2:30.
They have me in lockdown. Oh, we're crazy, Joe. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'm thinking Robert Plant's vocals in the movie, The Song Remains the Same, might be better than the recording. I think he changed the words too. About my tears, they fell like rain.
Wow. I mean,
did you hear them falling?
You know
that's not on the album. That's in the live version.
Now, you were saying you don't know the lyrics, but you know the lyrics. You know a lot of the lyrics.
Oh, I'm cheating. I got the.
Oh.
Well, the Japanese masters have the vinyl put a lyric sheet, but sometimes they get the words wrong because it's a translation.
Yeah.
So, that's it. Yeah. So, trying to keep up with you guys.
So, what do you say? What do we agree in our humble opinion? Is it a heartbreak song that he's working from 7 to 11 and his girl's bored at home waiting for him?
We don't know, right? If his girl's cheating, is that obvious? Do we know?
No,
we
don't know.
But obviously, Robert. By the way, and Robert Plant. I'm not sure if he. I would have to fact check this, but I don't know if he's the prime lyricist on this song. But dude, he sells this song with his singing. Like he's from the depths of his soul. Like he's, and then combine that with the music.
I almost feel it's almost very Janis Joplin influenced in his vocals.
I was gonna say, yeah, like A Piece of My Heart sort of like vibe.
Yeah, and I wouldn't. I mean, I hate to compare him, but Steve Marriott sang in this style too on "Smokin'." There's a song on "Smokin'." I forget the name of it. It's a bluesy song, and it's very similar in the way that like pouring your heart out singing.
It's a classic blues.
Ripping, So we'll never know, if it's with is it a heartbreak song or she's just waiting at home for him as he leaves the.
I think it's a heartbreak song because he's working from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every night. He's not around for her. He doesn't know how to break the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't think there's another man involved, but there will be soon.
That's a good point.
He doesn't fix the problem.
And if he
Temple Anthem.
His PTU hours are going to go down.
Wait, does Joe know about the I'm going to call it PTU?
Yeah.
Just awfulness.
PTU, it's like a venereal disease in the 70s. I don't know. But, okay.
Great song. Wait, Joe, final thoughts on since I've been loving you, like from you being the Led Zeppelin fan and expert, what do you think?
It's one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. Always has been. I mean, Jimmy's best work. I think Plant's vocals are stellar.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to the music. Guitar work, like Joe said, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm going back to the song remains the same. I think it's better than the recorded version, which a lot of bands live stuff is better. And me and Manny talked about this, like Cheap Trick, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I Want You to Want Me. And, I Want You to Want Me is pretty lame in the studio. It's really fucking lame.
Yeah.
But live at Budokan, it's like the greatest song. Certain songs just translate better live, I can't think of any.
Wait.
That's one.
Joe, I apologize for this. I'm going to throw in one more Rush reference and I'll stop. Dude, the Free Will version on Exit Stage Left, I think is superior to the recorded version.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I'll fact check this. I'll consult the great ass.
I'm also going to say Kiss, Deuce.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Kiss Live, opening up with Deuce, blows away the recorded version, or Strutter.
Yeah. Well, anything on that first debut, like live.
Go All Night. It's live on the radio. You never hear the recorded version. When you hear it on the radio, it's always live. So, or streaming services.
Oh, streaming services for all the youngins out there.
Yeah.
It's just like the Flaming Lips. The live versions are always so much better. And there are so many interpretations of the song. And all I know is that he's been quoted as saying, he's amazed by it. But every time Wayne Coyne looks out into the audience, he sees people crying. Because the songs mean so much. I mean, a lot to them,
Yeah,
it's how they interpret the song.
That's the key. That's the key, Joe. Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, that's the Rush Flaming Lips, thing.
Interpretation. That's the key to life, I think, how we interpret things. And, anyway.
Wait, before you move on, Joe, you'll get a kick out of this. Just reading my notes here. So do anyone know the Lester Bangs?
Yeah, that was the critic.
That was him, right? Okay. Yeah. So he wrote that the track represents the obligatory slow and lethally dull 7-minute blues jam. I don't know if that's a little harsh.
See, I kind of dismissed that, and I went with what he says about "That's the Way."
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't say that he liked the album. I said he liked the song.
Oh, man. I didn't know you took a jab at this. That's funny. That's funny.
At least you didn't say Plant sounds like a cat going through a blender.
Oh, the Rush reviews. Reading the reviews is so much fun.
So the vocals are, I think, one of Plant's greatest vocals for emotion and passion,
Mm-hmm.
And then, once again, John Paul Jones's organ solo is fucking amazing on both live and recorded. The guy doesn't get enough. I think, he's up there with the greats. He doesn't get enough credit. I really love his organ playing. Phenomenal. What else do I have on here? And then there's like a musical conversation, call and response with Paige and the guitar and the organ and everything. So just a brilliant song. Check it out on the recorded version. Check out The Song Remains the Same. Now, does Plant ever do it solo? Joe, when you seen him?
As a solo artist?
Yeah, would he ever do this?
I've never heard him do it. I've seen him about a dozen times. Every once in a while, he pulls out a nugget. When he did the Rain song from Houses of the Holy.
Oh, wow.
That was a special.
Oh, wow.
Beautifully done.
Now, did Jason do it when you saw that concert?
I think he did. I think, yeah, Mr. Jimmy, I think he did. I think they did Since I've Been Loving You.
I'm sure Mr. Jimmy killed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm torn on this next one. Immigrant Song or Out on the Tiles for my favorite track. And I've played both with bands, and I have to say, if you're a musician and you're listening and you've played this song, Black Dog is way harder, but this is second hardest Led Zeppelin song to play. Because the riff...
Wait, Out on the Tiles.
Yeah.
Wow.
The riff is so messed up. And then there's this one part where it goes, it follows the vocals. I mean, to get that tight, you gotta sit in a practice room for hours nailing it. So here's my humble opinion about what this song is about. Breaking free, having a sense of freedom and rebellion, living on your own terms. Once again, the pain of infidelity in a relationship going wrong. I don't know, we can ask check it.
No, I think that's right. Dude, it's a dude, it sounds like a classic, like another classic.
Plant, whether Plant, Page, whoever, somebody was hurting over a woman on a lot of these songs, or making up a story about a friend. Maybe it was a friend who was hurting, or a movie they watched. I don't know. You'll never know. But it's about being hurt.
John Bonham was the inspiration behind the song. That was his saying. He would say, let's go out on the tiles, which meant let's go out to the pub.
Right.
On the tiles.
Well, see, that's interesting. Right. Wait, Joe, is that an English thing? I didn't know that.
I think, it was a Bonham thing.
Bonham. Amazing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so he definitely drank, because apparently he wasn't a drunk. Remember the comment?
John Bonham drank?
Apparently, but I guess he wasn't a drunk, Cheech. So fact check that.
I never knew he drank. Poor man. Okay.
I think Bonham gets a songwriting credit on this.
Really? Got to fact check that, Joe.
No, he's right. It says here songwriters James Patrick, Jimmy Page, John Bonham, and Robert Anthony Plant.
Page, Plant, Bonham.
I love how they put their middle names in there.
I know. I'm looking at this like official songwriter cred here. It's funny.
Probably publishing reasons. Back then you had to put. And I always love on Sabbath albums, it'll say, Bill Ward, Tony Iommi. Sometimes it says, it might have said Ozzy John Osbourne on the first album. I could be wrong, but it always said Terrence Geezer Butler. And I never understood, Geezer never looked like a Terrence to me. I don't know. So, like I said earlier, one of the best riffs next to Black Dog. And, really, if you're a bass player or a guitar player, learn the riff. It's very challenging. It's very chromatic. It's great for your left hand. It's almost like an exercise. I remember sitting there for hours trying to learn this, and this is before YouTube, and you could just watch somebody do it, Back then when people used your ears, going back to the record back and forth, or the tape player, and the tape would, you do it so many times, the tape would come out of the tape player. So amazing, the powerful drums, great groove, energetic vocals, powerful singing. It's great bass, how it follows the guitar. Like Black Dog, they're in unison playing that same riff. And the ending is amazing because the ending has a jam. They jam out the ending, like down, 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 down. And you can hear the improv letting it go. It kind of just jams and
Yeah,
and just,
it goes to a fade. They fade out.
yeah. So they were
That's
jam, fade. But fade is a lost art. The art of fading, and the engineer had to nail that fade till it went down to nothing. I remember we faded out a couple songs. Not easy to do. Sounds easy because you got to do it in tempo with the song as you're fading. Very difficult. Did they ever play it live, Joe? Wait, they
not
did.
very often. It's in. I swear, there's a segment of it in The Song Remains the Same, but it leads into another song.
Did they ever play it? And Bonham does a drum solo in between the riff.
I've read a couple of times they did that. They experimented with it.
I think I seen that on a video. Gotta ass check that, but I think I seen it.
Yeah, Out on the Tiles into Moby Dick.
That's it. Yep. Okay. Any last thoughts on Out on the Tiles? Which I'm torn between the Immigrant Song and Out on the Tiles for my favorite song on the album. And Tangerine.
I was gonna say, dude, yeah. Well, Out on the Tiles and Immigrant Song sound like the two Led Zeppelin-y songs.
Classics. This one, Gallows Pole, is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's been a couple weeks. I sent you the Lead Belly version, I think, and it almost sounds like they stole it right from Lead Belly on the version that I sent you. I don't know if you remember that, Manny.
Yes.
It's like the same.
What do you think? Wait, do you think they stole it outright, or?
It sounds like the same song. If you anyone out there, you want to fact check this, go listen to Lead Belly doing. I don't think it's called Gallows Pole though. I'm gonna just explain this first. Gallows Pole is a rendition of a traditional folk song, "The Maid Freed from the Gallows," love, betrayal, and redemption. The maid's lover is gonna die. So they're gonna hang him in the gallows. So the maid tries to bribe the judge, but she's unsuccessful, and the man dies. And so wait, hold on one second. What did I say? Redemption. The Maid Freed from the Gallows is the name of the song. I read. I can ask, check it. Dylan, Joan Baez, the Kingston Trio, and Fairport Convention have covered the Maid song, whatever. I keep losing it. The Maid Freed from the Gallows. Now, Lead Belly, really, I think Zeppelin took it. They took the whole arrangement from them, from what I saw. And it's cool. It's cool that it's an old folk song that they would have.
Well, they had to dig it out from the Smithsonian. Did you hear about this?
No.
Like they had to do some research, and they found this. I don't want to say strange, but it's like from 1902 or something. It's like old. Well, yeah. I don't know. It's just strange how. And it's funny you said, yeah. And Lead Belly recorded one of the early versions.
Yeah.
So I guess. I don't know. Maybe they stole it. Maybe they were inspired, but
excuse me. But I think I would say more inspired than stolen.
Yeah,
but it's close. It's close. It's really close.
Mm-hmm.
Musically, you guys want to talk about the music, Joe?
For Gallows Pole,
Yeah,
I just like it. I always like the song.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was traditional, so I'm kind of trying to look it up. But
yeah. Acoustic
You know,
guitar, haunted vocals, beautiful.
you know which part I love? So you hear the strumming of the guitar, right?
Yeah,
And then sort of like I past the 2 minute mark, then you hear John Bonham's boom down like his classic dude.
yeah,
Dude, that gives me such musical euphoria. Like something about that when you
yeah.
hear Bonham's classic, tone of drumming, dude, it's such an amazing, it's great song. Like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
great song,
And
and they would continue that vibe in the Battle of Evermore, like sort of like that weird.
I think there's mandolin in this one too, right? I believe there's
I
mandolin.
hear a mandolin. Now I gotta ask check if yeah, that's gonna be the inside joke. I think it's gonna enter into the Cheech and Manny dictionary. Ask check.
Oh, most definitely.
I don't want to get in trouble with Led Zeppelin's lawyers. But it appears that they did have two influences, or there's two versions out there, and one was Lead Belly's 1939 version. And then there was another version that came out in 1962 that I'd never heard about by a musician named Fred Gerlache.
Okay.
So
I
those
think
were the influences.
he made it famous. Fred Gerlache made it famous. I read, and
You
then
know,
Lead
Bob
Belly.
Dylan did his own version too. Cheech and
Yeah,
Joe.
yeah.
Come on.
I said that. I said,
Bob Dylan made his own version too.
yeah. Wait, where did I put it now?
I can't believe that.
It's
Bob,
thematically similar. It's called Seven Curses, 1963, during the sessions for the Times They Are Changing album.
Joan Baez too.
Judy
Kingston Trio
Collins did. Remember, you guys know Judy Collins did a
yeah,
version.
and Kingston Trio and Fairport Convention. So it was a folk song,
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
traditional folk song that a lot of people covered. Lead Bellies is really sick. It's really I love Lead Belly. He had an interesting vibe about him.
It's
Isn't it
the
true?
only Led Zeppelin song that has a banjo on it.
That's right. There is banjo on it. Yep.
Yeah, the only one. It was John Paul Jones's banjo, but Jimmy played it.
Exactly. Interesting. So any last remarks on Gallows Pole?
I know it was a regular song in the Page and Plant sets back in the mid '90s, and I did see Robert Plant do it in July in Hershey, Pennsylvania,
Oh,
with
nice.
Alison Krauss. You know, they totally make it an Americana tune.
Yeah.
They kind
Yeah.
of slow it down. It's they do a nice job on it.
How long has he been with her now? Because it's very interesting, that he would, he's got like a partner that he sings with.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they put the two albums out. I think Raising Sand came out around 2007, and they toured in 2008. But then they took a lot of time off. They worked
Yeah.
with T-Bone Burnett.
Oh, yeah.
But then they went their separate ways, and then they got
And
back together and
yeah.
did a second album. Yeah, Raise the Roof. Was the
Yeah.
name of the album.
He's got a great voice. Okay.
Robert,
What?
who has a great voice?
Alison Krauss.
Oh, well, she's an angel. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
I love his voice.
But thanks to her, Robert Plant is singing better than ever. I mean,
Robert Plant's voice it's okay, right, Manny? Robert Plant's voice.
That's all right. I think maybe Geddy Lee beats him.
I think maybe the guy in Mayhem, Ron, sings a little bit better. Fact check that,
I'll say. Well, no, Joe, Cheech and I agree that Sid Vicious is obviously one of the greatest singers of all time. I fact checked that.
My way, the best performance.
Better than Frank Sinatra.
Way better.
Oh,
Way better.
I got you. My way.
So Tangerine, not just a fruit sold at the temple. First, before I even get into it, like, what do you guys think of this song? I mean, just in general, it's just beautiful, right? I mean, I always would sing it at the temple, and I'm trying to think, of the lyric. I can't think of the lyric. Oh God. Well, I love that part where he's like, to think of us again, and he stops and he's like, and I do, and then they go into that part. The temple song I would always sing, "The Hours Bring Me Pain." I would always sing that when I was at the temple. But I love that part, to think of us again, and he's like, and I do, just beautiful. For some reason, I always, this might have been one of the early seance. My old band, I'm freezing up. My band Seance used to do this in the attic of my house when we were in 9th grade, and we had the Led Zeppelin songbook in front of us, and I remember like we had an acoustic player, and we would do Tangerine, and like I have so much memories with this song.
Wait, Cheech, was that part of your acoustic set?
No, it was like we had it's so funny, the guitar player, he had a Sears guitar amp, LJ, and he used to try to move around, and the amp would fall on the floor because it was like a little tiny shitty amp, and he'd be dragging the amp and you'd hear it all muffled. And then we would go to the acoustics. Yeah, I guess it was like our acoustic set, but Tangerine always reminds me of Seance in my attic when I was like 14 doing it. So basically, I think I nailed this one. Nostalgic, longing of the past love. So poetic metaphors, yearning for the return of his love to come back to him. William Blake was a huge influence on this song for him. And it even said Tolkien. Returning to the past, bittersweet, bittersweet essence, and just yearning for a past love, somebody who's gone that you can't, is not coming back. That kind of thing. You're reflecting on love lost. How do you guys feel about that, Joe?
I'm not going to disagree.
God,
No,
can we
good.
talk about how short the lyrics are, though? It's crazy. I never noticed that.
Verses, I think.
It's strong poetically, so I could see the William Blake influence.
Yeah, the William Blake.
Dream.
Reflection of a dream. Yeah.
Very poetic, artsy lines.
Beautiful. I mean, might be my favorite. Well, Stairway to Heaven, but it might be my second favorite. Music. It's a ballad, folk rock. Beautiful acoustic guitar.
Wait, by the way, Cheech, just before, like, one thing about the lyrics, I just pulled up a William Blake poem, Sunflower. That's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So think about, like, look at this. It's a short poem, and the poem says, sunflower, weary of time, who contests the steps of the sun, seeking after that sweet golden climb where the traveler's journey is done. Dude, you hear the Tangerine influence. It's crazy.
Totally. The rhyme scheme, everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing. He was definitely reading William Blake. So I get credit on an ass check on that. Thank you.
Yeah, you. Yep. Ass check approved. So.
Thank you so much. And there's a pedal steel, I believe, right, Joe, in the song? Like a pedal steel guitar, which I always...
I can hear it.
It's beautiful. So just a beautiful song, It's not as folky as the other songs, because it's electric. It's like Dylan. Kind of like, going from electric to acoustic. They're bouncing back and forth on this album. It's kind of funny, how we just did a Dylan album and it was kind of like that, He was electric and then he went acoustic. And maybe Zeppelin was trying to do that. Maybe that was the Dylan influence on them.
Yeah, I think and it's funny. Tangerine also launches, even though Gallows Pole you could argue is acoustic, but I think Tangerine launches their acoustic set with "That's the Way." I'm sorry, Joe. A Bron ER Stomp.
Bron
YR Stomp, and hats off to Roy Harper. Like that's
Robert Plant is laughing at us Americans trying to pronounce.
Oh,
I'm having a hard time. I speak 2 languages, so I have to go from Spanish and English, and I'm having a hard time.
Bloody
Until you get to your maker.
Well, I call Dyer Miker or Dyer.
The Maker?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. That's
I
what
love
he
that
made
song,
fun.
but yeah, Dyer or I thought this is gonna be dumb, but when I first heard that song, I thought it was Dwyer Miker. I was like, wait, what is that? Dyer Maker? Like I was having such a hard time.
These
It's
bloody Yanks trying to do a podcast.
it's short for Did You Make Her?
Wait, is it really?
Hmm.
I thought it was Jamaica or something to do with
Oh,
Jamaica.
that's crazy.
I don't know.
There's a funny story that Plant tells about that, but I can't
But
recall it word for
that's
word. Yeah.
awesome. So the next one is That's the Way. Um, Great song. So someone struggling again with lost relationships, regrets, longing and acceptance. How do you feel about those lyrics, Manny? Before I tell you the influences that are,
No, that's right. Another I like this song. Very
I mean, either somebody was really like unhappy who's writing these, writing the lyrics with like love, or somebody around them was really struggling with love, or was just
well, you know what's
writing.
funny? This song sounds like a depressing Joni Mitchell song. Joni Mitchell has this way of strumming, and dude, I'm not saying Joni, I would have to ass check it, but this song sounds like something off either a Neil Young album, a Joni Mitchell album, or
Yeah,
just because of the way and lyrically, yeah, it's something about yeah, you're right, it's odd, but I don't think, to my knowledge, maybe Joe would know you or Cheech or were they experiencing some sort of longing or heartbreak or
Well, all I know is Page and Plant loved Joni Mitchell. Loved Joni.
oh,
Everyone.
there we
Everybody.
go. See, I
She
didn't
was
know that.
talented. She was a musician. She was very independent. She was very strong-willed.
mm-hmm.
And we'll get to that when we get to going to California on Zeppelin
Oh
3,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
really
Uh-huh. See,
about
so
her.
I hear it. That's interesting.
She's the girl
So
with the flowers in her
yeah, it could
hair. Joni.
just be maybe they're going for that Joni Mitchell vibe, and they're like singing about. You don't have to be. No, I don't know. I think you got to be going through something to write a sad song. I don't think you could just write a sad song, in my opinion. How do you feel about that psychologically, Manny?
Well, well, if you believe in like the archetype psych, I think you can, but you really have to be tuned in. Like
Yeah.
you really have to be, your poetic inside. Like how to tune in into the archetype of like
Mm-hmm.
melancholy and sadness, which few artists can do. Like,
Yeah.
but for example, but then you do have some truth with it because I don't know, but I feel like Robert Plant is a brilliant songwriter and Jimmy Page, like
Yeah.
they
Oh
definitely
yeah.
tapped into it.
Somebody was going through something. Like I remember Jimi Hendrix on the Dick Cavett show. That's how old I am. And Dick Cavett said to him, "Now that you're successful, how do you play the blues? Now that you're famous, and Hendrix answered in his mellow way, heartbreak never goes away. And it's true. No matter how successful you are, you could still be in pain over that lost love from second grade. I don't know.
See, when I look at
Um,
the lyrics, so with the Joni Mitchell influence, like she has a song called "Both Sides" now, which I'm sure you two know, where
yeah,
you listen to it, and and Neil Young has a similar song, "Sugar Mountain."
love that
I
song.
don't know if you guys,
Yes,
Joe. I know you, Chief,
Oh, yeah,
"Sugar Mountain."
beautiful song.
sure.
Love it.
Well, I was gonna say, at first you listen to it. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Like psychologically, some artists, like you don't have to experience, but you can tap into that. I'm trying to describe it myself. There's something like sad about life, and this song kind of that's the way. And again, I think I see Plant and Page wrote this song together. There's something sad about it, and again, I think you nailed the meaning. Where
Yeah,
now, where are they experiencing this? I'm not sure, but I think they tapped into it. Like they're
yeah,
able to, and obviously with the Joni Mitchell influence, yeah,
yeah.
combine that, it's rocket fuel for
Yeah, I
this
don't
song.
think you can a sad song without having that emotion. Because you could write Celebration Day and be all happy. Yeah, I'm happy, you know, like, but like a sad song is you're pouring out your heart. It says Percy Shelley was an influence on the lyrics. And of course, her boy William Blake comes back. So, you know, Plant is reading now. He's reading a lot of English literature, poetic stuff, as he's maturing as a lyricist and a person, probably. Because what is he now, like 21 on this album?
22. He was born in 1948. So
Yeah. So,
yeah.
That's insane.
1970. They
So
released
he's
it.
about 2 years older than my dad. So
Might have been 21.
yeah,
This,
crazy.
this is along with, if I had I mean, we're gonna talk about it most likely, but dude, Friends, Since I've Been Loving You, and That's the Way. These are one of my top 3 of this album.
Oh yeah.
And obviously, That's the Way because of the Neil Young, Mitchell, Laurel Canyon vibe, which I always love. They nailed.
Yeah.
Great song.
Musically, you know, mandolin, acoustic, folk song, emotional vocals. Okay. All right. Next one, I'm not gonna say it because Joe, you say the name of it.
So
I'm
hard to
gonna
pronounce.
Bron Y.R. Stomp?
Bron
Yes.
Y.R. Bron Y.R.
Oh, wait a minute. Or am I got that wrong?
Bron Y.R.
Is it just Bron Y.R.?
I used to say
Bron Y.R. Stomp.
or I used to say Ronnie or I don't know.
See, I thought it was Bron-Y-R. Bron-Y-R.
You're probably closer than I am.
Ass jacket.
Wait. Can we talk about how Plant, and obviously, sorry, Cheech, to cut you off, but you're going to be talking about the meaning. But can we talk about how Plant named his dog Aragorn?
No. Well, kind of. Yeah.
Is that right?
Strider was the name of the dog.
Oh,
Which was another name for Aragorn.
You're right. I'm sorry. He named his dog. He called Strider because that was his name, right? That's crazy.
That's why we got Joe, the expert on the show. Who would?
I was going to say, speaking of Strider.
Yeah.
Well, you named your dog Strider?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, that's Buzz.
Oh, Bud. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was.
Buzz. Yeah.
Did you hear him bark, Cheech? He just barked when we were talking about the dogs.
Yeah. That's a cute name, Bud.
Yeah. The fact that I know about Strider and Aragorn, obviously I didn't have a girlfriend in school, so.
Well, that's what.
Don't worry, Cheech. Cho, you're among friends.
Oh God, I missed the whole girl trip in high school till about 12th grade. Playing the bass in my room. So I'm not gonna say the name, but because I'm gonna mess it up. Blank blank stomp. The desire, to move forward, freedom, longing. I didn't get much out of it, just desire, having, freedom and then the longing for somebody. Robert Graves, The White Goddess book. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Manny.
No.
That was his influence. Musically, funky blues inspired sound, driving rhythm, mandolin, influenced by Blind Willie Johnson, Muddy Waters, and Robert Johnson. Now, Blind Willie Johnson, from what I have to check it. I used to know this. I'm pretty. I would say I'm 100% on this. No, I'm wrong. Blind Willie McTell wrote Statesboro Blues. Blind Willie Johnson, I forgot what he wrote. But now they're going back to the Delta Blues. Mm-hmm. So, for that
with this song.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was a popular song when they would do it in concert. Plant would get everybody clapping their hands. And there's a nice version, I think, on the DVD that they did at Earl's Court in 1975.
Yes, that's a great. For those of you who could, this is why I wish like CDs were still popular. Like How the West Was Won, right? That was It was a DVD collection back in the day when it was cool to have DVDs. I'm sure everything is on YouTube now, but Me and Joe always talked about it. Was it 1970 Royal Albert Hall?
Yeah.
That was the first DVD. Earl's Court was the second part of the DVD, and then the third part was Nebworth. So it was Zeppelin in sections, and then they had all these little videos, traveling Riverside Blues, and I even think they had a video for God. It was such a bad video though, poorly made. For what's the song of Houses of the Holy? It was a song of. The video was bad. It was like made. It was like it was just thrown together, and then they put the song over it. I remember. What's the most famous song of us Houses of the Holy? I'm trying to, my brain is shutting down.
You get the song remains the same. The rain
No.
song. The ocean.
No.
No quarter.
No.
Dear Maker. The Crunch.
No.
I'm naming all the ones.
You're not naming the most famous one that's on the radio all the time.
Stairway to Heaven.
No, it's on Houses of the Holy.
Oh God, Cheech.
We're gonna
remains the same. The Rain song. What was the third song on the first side? Sorry, Cheech. I'm drawing. I have a brain lock.
Manny, look up the track listing.
Houses of the Holy.
Yeah. Over the Hills and Far Away.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's
a high school quote. Yeah.
Oh nice.
Sorry. I live for my dream in a pocket full of gold. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. They had a video.
Totally wrong. All these years, I now think I understand what it means. So we'll talk about it in the future.
Yeah. Well, you gotta check it. You got to check it first. Make sure you check you check it.
Before, no, it's a matter of interpretation. All this time I thought of I live for my dream in a pocket full of gold had to do with wealth, the accumulation of wealth. But if you think about it, how much gold can you fit in one pocket? It's not going to last you that long. So it's really not about the accumulation of wealth and success. It's about having enough money in your pocket to go where you want to go next. I think.
It's
like payday. And then
we can ass check that one.
No, when we get there, we'll ass check it. So for all our
they get paid on Thursday and your money's going on Sunday. You wake up Sunday going, why did I drink so much then? Saturday night. Been there so many times.
Many dreams come true and some have silver linings.
Yes.
Oh my! How could I forget that song? Yeah, that's
no, but my point was to add filler on the box set, and MTV played these videos too. Traveling Riverside Blues.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember that on MTV.
An old blues guy on a boat playing, and Robert Plant from The Song Remains the Same, all psychedelic.
No, Cheech, you're right, because on VH1 Classic, that's the one song that would keep playing, and I remember that.
And they put those videos in the box set, and there was a creepy. Oh my God, they did some creepy stuff. I remember watching it and being drunk, and it would be the outside of the venue that they were playing in Europe, and they did this on purpose. There was a little boy. You remember this, Joe? Who was with his mother on the street, and the little boy looked like Damien, and from the movie The Omen, and he would be looking around, and then he would creep and just look at you in the camera. Do you remember that?
I do not remember that. I'm sorry.
And I remember being like, "This is fucked up," and it would be on a loop.
Dude,
remember
dude, that sounds so weird.
Remember on a DVD, you'd have to you have a menu, and then it would just loop until you hit the whatever you want to watch. So I'd go to the bathroom and ready to watch. I'd watch. I had a routine. I'd watch Royal Albert Hall, and I'd watch Earl's Court. So in between that, it'd go on the loop, and then you'd see the streets of Poland, and this kid with his mother, and it would just be weird with maybe a violin bow in the back, and you'd see him, and he would just be creeping around, and he'd look at the camera. It was so fucking weird. Unless I was just out of my mind in 2007 or 8 when it came out, which I was. But I remember. If anybody out there remembers this, please comment about it. So, so basically, yeah, it's blues influenced by all the Delta blues. Any comments on that? You think you can kind of hear that?
I don't have anything to add, Cheech.
Okay.
I hear it, and I also hear it on the next track too.
What's the next? Oh, well, yeah, this is classic.
Also, and it's interesting on Physical Graffiti. They also have a song, also on side 3. Sorry, Joe. Bron Y. Ayer. Bron Y.
Bonnie. Yeah, that's about a mountain.
On the Physical Graffiti song.
Yeah, and I have 2 trivia questions for Joe before we go to that song, Bronny Yor on Physical Graffiti. Where did Led Zeppelin play that song? In the Song Remains the Same, and you just watched it.
Oh snap! Was it at the very beginning or at the very end? I think it was at the very end. I think it's at the very end of the movie when they're getting on the starship and they're gonna take off, and
they're in the cab.
The guitar, he's playing Brown Wire.
They're in the cab in New York City.
Oh snap! All right, you're right.
And they played in the back.
Well, they were in a limo. I don't think Led Zeppelin was ever.
Yeah, sorry, a cab. Yeah,
they were in a Cadillac.
And it was Bonham and maybe Plant, I think. Is it?
Yeah, the sun was coming through and
yes,
shooting his eyes. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. So it was on the way to the venue.
Yeah. It
was on the way to the Garden.
It's right when
Pittsburgh or Shepperton Studios, but we'll get into that.
when Peter Grant is going off on the bootlegger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that poor guy probably got a beating. They didn't film that.
Pirate poster.
There's a rumor. The Song Remains the Same. Plant is mocking a band, mocking Kiss. He says post photos or something like that. I don't know if he's talking about Kiss, but that was always something I heard. He was like, "Oh, a band like that post photos." I don't know what the hell that means, but I remember somebody telling me, "Oh, that's what he's talking about Kiss." I gotta check that.
I never got that from that. I'm sorry, I never got a Kiss connection on that.
And then here's the other one, Roy Harper. Who was his bass player that went on to play with Jimmy Page?
Tony Franklin.
There you go. Joe knows it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hats off to Roy Harper.
Wait. One more thing, guys. So it's funny. I'm reading here. Bonham was playing spoons on that song.
Which one?
Bron Wire Stomp.
Yeah, he was. That's right. Yeah.
Crazy.
I never noticed that. All I take away from that song is that Jimmy plays really great, spirited acoustic guitar.
Yeah, I like that word.
Really gets into it.
Yeah. Bonham was playing on a drum seat. He was playing with spoons. Ramble On, he's playing on the drum pad.
Apparently. But it goes to show you what Joe said before. This album has that.
You froze up for a second. Would you say? I missed what you said, Manny.
Cheech froze.
Yeah, Cheech is freezing up really bad. Cheech, you're freezing up bad.
I know.
Uh-oh. Wait, Cheech, are you plugged in charger-wise, your phone?
Yeah. How am I now?
How's your Wi-Fi connection?
Good. How am I now?
Okay. You're back. I think you're back.
It wasn't as bad as the first Dylan, was it?
Oh no, that episode was a disaster.
Okay. Hats off to Roy Harper. We've been at this now, for almost 2 hours, so maybe that's why my phone is. Hats off to Roy Harper is a tribute to Roy Harper. It's a poetic song for his talents in writing, his folk music, and his thought-provoking lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Music, folk song, mandolin, acoustic guitar, and harmonica. Any thoughts on that?
No.
I never liked the song. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what's
It's
funny?
like,
Wait, Joe. You know what's funny? Even though apparently it's also it's based on a Buka White blues song called "Shake 'Em On Down," which I respect. I'll be honest with you. I think
Oh,
this is I'm trying to
no,
hard with this song. I just can't.
wait, it's based on
it's not accessible.
Martha Shake 'Em On Down by Buka White. Wow. Because the lyric is like
Yeah, Buka
Martha.
White. Yeah,
Well, Buka White was a huge influence.
yeah.
We talked about it on Plant, and I
No,
sent you that
I was
video.
gonna say your boy Buka White.
I sent you that video of Buka White, Skip James, in Sunhouse
Yep,
at the Newport Jazz Festival.
yep,
You know
yep.
that.
And that's what I was gonna say when you were introducing the song. Your boy Buka White is on it.
Now is that the Dylan played at that same festival, right?
I think so. Yeah, we're gonna have to ask check it, but yeah. You're gonna have one Dylan fan. Some really like you guys are wrong. You guys gotta.
No, because there was two Newport Jazz Festivals. Joe, you brought this attention to my attention, right? Earlier.
Well, comparing it to the movie, Johnny Cash was not at the second one.
No, the movie's really inaccurate. Yeah,
Well, they were trying to capture,
that's no.
events. They got the events right, but they get the chronology wrong. They
That's
took
that
synthetic license.
movies.
Well, I will say you would think it pisses you off, but Joe's right. It got the atmosphere, the whole sort of like that Dylan period when he went from folk to electric. And I knew that. And you know what's funny, Cheech and Joe, you'll laugh at this in the movie because we know that infamous crowd peddler that yelled out "Judas" was in England, but they did it at the Newport Folk Festival in the movie, right? Which for me, I know, Cheech. I know you're gonna get a little mad, but I think it works. Like it's capturing the spirit.
See, for me, I'm all about historical events being correct.
Okay. So.
A kid who's gonna watch that is gonna have a podcast and he's gonna have to ask check it and he's gonna get some person to say that's wrong. But no, you're getting fed the wrong information. You know, in the greatest story I have about that, was that Quentin Tarantino movie a couple years ago came out.
Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Thank you, Joe. And there's two stories. One with Bruce Lee that's inaccurate.
Yeah, but dude, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. How you
And the ending pissed me off. That Charles Manson, the girls go in, to do their thing, and the girls get killed in somebody. I forgot the ending, but it wasn't accurate. The girls all
wait, Chief, you're not used to Quentin Tarantino.
No, but then some kid at the temple said, "Oh, I was watching a thing about Charles Manson, and they made a movie, and the documentary was wrong because those girls all died." And I was like, "Dude, what the hell are you talking about? Those girls killed Sharon Tate. No, in the movie they didn't. They got flamethrowered to death or whatever." So
Yeah.
when he did that, it's like you're changing history and I witnessed it. A young kid really believed history being changed.
Well, see, but I will say shame on him because how old is the kid?
20s, early 20s.
Oh, that's strange. Well, I will say, like, usually with the rule of thumb with movies, and most people know this, is like the movies are not usually any like biographical movie on anybody is not accurate. Like, and I've noticed that. I don't get mad about it though. Like, I know you're getting a little bit upset. Like, I as long as it captures the spirit. Like, it's funny you're not used. You've seen other Quentin Tarantino movies like Django Unchained and Glorious Bastards. He likes to. Great movies. He likes to change history, which, in Inglourious Bastards' case, might make a lot of people happy.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
And then you have movies like Django Unchained with his take on slavery, and then the one on Once Upon a Time in America. I thought that was when I saw it, I was laughing because man, this is so funny how not accurate this is, but it's so cool.
And then, like, Abraham Lincoln was a vampire slayer, right? Because I saw the movie, and he killed vampires, right?
Forgot about. You're gonna have that one kid. Yo,
Wait,
Cheech,
wait,
did
Abraham
you know
Lincoln,
Abe Lincoln was a vampire slayer?
he didn't free the slaves. He was a
He was a
vampire slayer.
vampire slayer. See, that's why he freed the slaves.
I mean, like, it's like stupid shit like that always bothered me because I like historical facts. I don't. But anyway, and the Bruce Lee thing is supposedly like bullshit too in that movie. Once Upon a Time in
Well, you know
Hollywood.
what
But
it does? Like any young person that watches that, they'll search up Bruce Lee. Well, who is Bruce Lee? Like they've never heard of Bruce Lee. Like that's what the Bob Dylan movie does. I think. Like they'll watch that performance or the ending, and obviously they're not gonna know, the right Newport Folk Festivals, who exactly was on the bill. Was Johnny Cash there with Bob Dylan? But
yeah,
they'll research.
that's important though. Those are like that stuff they should have had a fake Johnny Cash actor. They had a Funhouse there, you know. It should be accurate because I think. And then again, I remember getting a letter from I wrote to going back to the show Vikings, and their timeline was way off. Like studying Viking history, like Ragnar and I forgot the other Viking names right now, but the timeline was off. And I wrote to an email to History Channel and asked them why is the timeline off, and they're like, because it's a show, it's not a documentary. And that was their reply to me. Somebody actually got back to me. Rollo and Ragnar were the two Vikings, and their time periods were like 200 years different. I was like really hardcore in the Vikings, and they're like, if you want to watch a documentary, watch a documentary. This is an entertainment show. So I guess it's that kind of thing. But it messes with your head if you're an historian.
Of course, it's not. Movies are not perfect. Movies are not the medium for truth. Like it's more like myth.
Yeah, I'm just rambling now.
You're making that commenter happy. You'd be like, yeah, see.
Hey, we did a lot of good ass checks today, so I think this show was pretty ass checked, 100%.
Oh, I think so. Ass checked approved.
Yeah, Joe, is it ass checked approved?
It was pretty good. That was fun.
We did good.
I wish I had something nice to say about hats off to Roy Harper. Here's what you got to know. You got to take away from this with Roy Harper. Around 1984, Jimmy Page did an album with Roy Harper called Whatever Happened to Jugular. Listen to it. It's really, really good. And nobody knows about it. But Jimmy plays really well on it, and it creates a nice ambiance.
Is that before the Firm, after the Arms concert, in between that era?
I think it was before. Yeah. It might have been after the Arms concert and before the Firm.
You know what's really interesting? At the Arms concert, he used a double neck guitar to play Stairway to Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
A double neck,
It's not the same without Robert Plant.
Yeah. You got that, Manny? He played a double neck guitar.
Sure about that? You have to fact check it.
I know. Anyway, anything about Led Zeppelin III? This was a lot of fun, guys. I haven't laughed this much in a while, man. We had a good time. Ass checking everything, and so any comments on the great Led Zeppelin III? Because we're gonna head into probably the biggest Led Zeppelin album.
I think this one is
going into
major.
Zeppelin 4. Just a preview of Zeppelin 4. What do you think, Joe? The biggest Led Zeppelin album of all time?
I can't pick a favorite. It's like
child. In general, would you say Zeppelin 4 is the biggest album of all time?
Oh no, not of all time. You can't.
No, of Zeppelin, of the Zeppelin era,
of the Zeppelin catalog.
Yeah.
Joe, is it their moving pictures?
That's all right. It is. I mean, I'm a big fan of physical graffiti.
Is it their moving pictures, man? He asked. That's a good. Oh man, yeah, that's a good call. I think it is their moving pictures. Definitely. because it's. I mean, there's not one. There's not hats off to Roy Harper. There's not one bad song on
No.
Led
Wait,
Zeppelin
Cheech,
IV.
you didn't share. What do you think of Hats Off to Roy Harper? Do you enjoy the track, or I don't like it?
I like it because we covered a lot of Zeppelin III in my seance days, and when I was in ninth grade, and the guitar player's last name was Harper, so we would sing "Hats Off to Scott Harper," who was a mentor of one of my best friends growing up, and a mentor. The kid was like 13. He was a master sax player, great guitar player. I learned how to play and music theory and everything from the guy, you know. But we'd always say "Hats Off to Scott Harper," you know. So I actually, I have a good memory. Zeppelin III brings me back to ninth grade. I don't know. It just time capsule, playing with the pinwheel and all that shit. But yeah, so Zeppelin IV will be fun. Four Sticks is another great underrated song. Battle of Evermore. Mm-hmm. When the Levee Breaks. I saw a video of John Paul Jones playing to When the Levee Breaks. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, on Led Zeppelin IV, every track is perfect. I know friends, anyone that doesn't even listen to rock, they know Stairway to Heaven and they know Led Zeppelin IV. Like they so definitive.
Zepp 4 is probably one of the most perfect albums. Production wise,
everything.
Everything. The way the order it goes in an order.
Track list, yeah.
Roll and everything. It's like, think about rock and roll. What a great song that is,
In the opening, yeah.
And then the greatest song of all time, rock song, "Stairway to Heaven." I mean, God.
Yeah.
Well, it really.
Robert Plant actually prefers Kashmir over "Stairway to Heaven." He thinks that his contribution.
I would
He's never really happy with "Stairway to Heaven's" lyrics because he says he really doesn't himself know what it's about.
We'll see. Yeah. Well, you see with "Stairway to Heaven," I would, and respectfully, even though he wrote this song, I'd be like, dude, I've never written a song in my life, but I disagree with you completely. "Stairway to Heaven" is your masterpiece because dude, the layers of meaning. We could do probably a 2-hour episode on unlocking the idea of a stairway to heaven. Like, what is that?
Well, we better save it for then.
I was gonna say we'll save it for that, but great song.
What we should all analyze "Stairway to Heaven" and see what we
see our perspectives. That's actually fun because I have my own version of it.
Because "Stairway to Heaven," there's so much. It's very William Blake-esque when you think about it lyrically, but almost doesn't make sense. Again, there's a lot of metaphors in there. There's a lot of words that kind of you don't know what he's meaning. But I know there's two paths. Well, what is the lyric? There's two paths you can go by.
It's never too late to change the road you're on.
So the two paths are that's from Magic. There's a left-hand path and a right-hand path of Magic. So that could have been a Page influence. That's something I always that stood out. And then if you played it backwards, you want to get
Let's not go. No, let's save something.
Let's save. Yeah, Chief. We'll save it.
It's longer than a Led Zeppelin concert almost. So.
Wait, man, you know about it going backwards, right? You know the whole theory on that.
Yeah, to be continued.
Okay.
We got to save something.
All right.
We'll just stay focused on Led Zeppelin III, which, by the way, I thanks to you guys, I'll be honest with you, it's one of my favorite albums. Every song I love, especially it's funny, you would think the acoustic stuff wouldn't do it for me, but that's just starting with Friends. I love that song. That's the Way, and Since I've Been Loving You. 3 of my now have entered my rotation in terms of listening, especially Since I've Been Loving You. It's pretty amazing album, and I love how they kind of, and Joe, you said it best, feels like a nice outing. There's a campfire going on, just strumming in a night, hearing Jimmy strum that lovely acoustic guitar.
It's amazing. I mean, Zeppelin just got better and better and better and better. And you know what I mean? Like they had
And
such a
1, 2,
great,
and 3. Yeah.
like all them 10 years, it's amazing. A lot, like so many bands, like Sabbath had a good run. Deep Purple didn't have a good run. Deep Purple sort of stopped at some point with the original lineup. Like I'm talking original lineups now. You know what I mean? Zeppelin, Sabbath, good 10 years. Deep Purple stopped around 73. With Machine Head. And then they got Glenn Hughes and Dave Coverdale for Burn. So I mean, imagine having like 10 albums in a row that fucking good. It's amazing. Having a good run. And then some bands took it even further from Canada and had higher runs into the 80s. And I always wondered if Bonham never died, what Zeppelin would have been like in the 80s. Would it have sounded like The Firm? I mean, I always think about those things.
I always thought Robert Plant was the secret sauce.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think I've said it before, that they would have ended up like Aerosmith. I don't think Aerosmith was as diverse. I mean,
that would have been scary.
Would have come up with a Cashmere.
That would have been scary if Zeppelin became poppy in the 80s, like Genesis or something like that.
Oh, Jefferson Starship.
Oh God.
Oh, that's notorious. I was telling you. And Chicago too became really poppy, like really poppy.
See, Starship was like Genesis. They had a nice run in the late 70s and the early 80s, like Find Your Way Back and Jane. They had some good radio songs. Then they got real poppy. Genesis with Duke, Abacab, they had the great radio songs. Then MTV comes in and destroys, your credibility,
It's funny. It kind of happened with Aerosmith, kind of. Also, they got really cheesy.
I stopped listening to Aerosmith, and we talked about this, I think, in the last episode or whatever, Done with Mirrors, which came out in '84. And then I was done when Angel came out and all that stuff. Respected them, and I saw them live on those tours, and they kicked ass, always kicked ass. But not a fan of Permanent Vacations or whatever. But I don't blame them. Yeah. That was the time. Yeah. That's what we were talking about, man. You remember that '90s production, that Rush guy, that you can't describe. You can't really describe '90s production.
Like the early '90s, it's kind of awkward until grunge just comes in, and
there's not a lot of reverb. Reverb is there, but it's not over the top. It's like hard to describe '90s production, early '90s production.
Yeah.
All right,
is
guys.
Mrs. Doubtfire calling? Because I think
we don't
covered it all.
Or that's why
good session.
That's why we ran. I was gonna say good session. So
Good. Henry, I got my Jimmy on. So.
Yes, sir.
So cool, man. And that's the original shirt.
Did Cheese freeze up again?
Hey,
I did.
That was Mrs. Doubtfire.
That's Mrs. Doubtfire, Cheese. It's freezing. That's Crowley calling.
That's who it is. We better stop. Or it's, great job, guys. Thank you for being on the show, as always, in your expertise on Led Zeppelin.
Manny, thank you. Yeah, this is awesome.
Manny, thank you for ass checking me on all my facts. Did a good job on the ass checking. So please leave comments about Led Zeppelin and what you think of the show, and check us out on where are we? Instagram, YouTube.
Right now, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify, which I'm building those channels right now.
Awesome. All right, guys. I'm going to ramble on forever. So
ramble on.
Thanks so much. Give my best to everyone at the temple.
We will. All right, guys. All right. Have a good one.
Right.
See you next time for Zeppelin